Howdy, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Card Blitz. I'm Kelly Reed, joined by my good buddy Patrick Marshall. Patrick, how you doing, man?
Good. How you doing, Kelly? How's it going, guys?
Good, good. Imagine this, man. We have a daytime edition, a recording during the day, so the light
Yep.
is a little different, but
You can see the lighting. Yep.
feels good, man. Well, I mean, right off the bat, dude, you got what is it, NHL Stanley Cup tonight? You got NBA Finals tomorrow night. You got women's college World Series going on, men's college World Series. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot. I mean, the college baseball for men's is really it's a good time of year. I mean, that's it usually signifies summer's around the corner, which it is, and it's a good time. It's a good time for sports and always baseball, and there's always soccer too. So
Yeah.
great.
About sports soccer. Yeah, we one of these days we'll talk soccer cards and talk about the different leagues and stuff. That'll be fun. We'll have
Yeah,
to find some
that's a good.
experts.
That'll be a good one.
Well,
So
I mean, I feel like I know a little bit more about NBA Finals than I do on the final for the Stanley Cup. But
yeah.
you have thoughts on either series?
I mean, I think it's a showplace of it's going to be a good series between two young up and coming stars in the NBA. I mean, the Tyrese Halliburton and the SGC for Oklahoma City. I mean, those guys they kind of just came out of nowhere. And I'm used to the older guys and seeing some of these new guys being an older fan. It's pretty cool. So I didn't even know how good these guys really were until I watched the playoffs.
Dude, and the Siakam getting the conference finals MVP, that
Yeah.
was interesting too. But without him, they're not taking care of business with the Knicks.
Well, yeah. And speaking of the Knicks, dude, did you see that the Knicks fired Thibodeau, their head coach, yesterday? I go, what? He just led them to the Eastern Conference Finals, and he's history. So I don't know. I wonder how people in New York feel about that because I thought he was doing a decent job with a bunch of misfits. So
Well, I don't know if you can say that about old Jalen there out of Dallas going to the Knicks being a misfit, but he's pretty good.
no, but yeah, no, I'm just joking. I'm talking about the rest of the supporting cast. I mean, I don't even know who they are. So
Right, Brunson. It'll be so yeah. If our viewers, if any of them would like to chime in, let us know what they think about the Thibodeau firing and give us their thoughts on this Thunder and Pacers NBA Finals. We'd love to hear from you.
yeah, do you have an opinion on who you think's gonna?
Well,
You want
I
a
think
full
Thunder. I mean,
prediction or?
Thunder have defense. I don't. I don't think the Pacers solve it, man. I think it's a 4-2 series, and Thunder take it, in Game 6.
I think it's 4-1 Thunder. Yeah, I agree with you. I think they come out and they just dominate, like in the first game at home, and just like it's from what I saw in the
Defense of theirs,
yeah.
and from what I've seen and read, it seems like, yeah, the Pacers haven't been able to really solve it yet and break through. So
Yeah, I think they
I
need.
imagine that's
They're
more of
close.
the same. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're getting closer, but I think the Thunder is closest, I guess, to where they need to be because that Chet Holmgren guy
Hmm.
for the Thunder. I mean, he's another young star. I mean, that guy protects the basket like he just makes shots go. They just look awful. I mean, when he's playing defense, so that's going to be tough. So
Well, and from what I've seen online, card market wise, SGA cards are like really on fire, and so it's the same thing with Halliburton. So, if you got your cards pre playoffs, probably doing all right.
oh
Looking,
yeah, I said SGC earlier. Sorry guys, I meant SGA.
we'll talk about SGC
I've
later.
had SGC on my
Right now,
mind.
we're on SGA.
That's right. Take your SGA to the
This
SGC.
Alexander guy, right?
Yeah, once SGA becomes the MVP, take him to SGC.
Yes.
There you go.
Or the
What about hockey, Kelly? I mean, what do you think about hockey?
You know, you got a repeat from last year matchup wise. I want to go with the Oilers. I feel like, that they're a franchise that they haven't had it in forever. It would be good for them to get it. So,
Yeah,
they got some pretty good young talent there. So,
yeah, I like the Oilers. I mean, I hope they can pull it off. I mean, Florida's tough. I mean, they're just a tried and true, competitor. But
champion from last year, man. Like,
yeah, I mean, I mean, I don't know.
Stars can't do it, then let's let
Yeah,
the Oilers do it.
correct. And I think that's a hockey town too. I mean, those guys up there will really really enjoy it. Not to say that people in Florida won't, but it's Florida. There's a lot more things going on. I mean, I don't think the
So the
city's.
frozen
I don't.
tundra of North frozen North America up there.
Yeah, I don't. I
Our
don't think
Canadian
Canada's.
brothers.
Yeah, I don't. Edmonton, Alberta is gonna shut down to watch the finals. Kids gonna be let out of school if they're not already out of school already. It's a big deal. So
Right. So yeah. It'd be interesting to see who pulls off the victory and to see if there are any effects in the card market as well.
yeah, yeah, I agree. So
And in baseball, that prospect from the Royals, Cagliostro.
Jacques,
Yeah,
yeah,
Caglione, I guess, or Caglione, uh, depending on what part of Texas you're from. Yeah, apparently he went 0 for 5 last night in his debut, but there's a lot of hype.
dude,
So,
I think he's from what I read, and I was sharing this a little bit with you earlier this week. I mean, we talked a little bit about him, but I think he's the real deal from everything I've read. I
mhm.
mean,
Well, they
there've been.
fast tracked him.
Um,
He's gone through that minor league system, what, in 3 months. So,
Dude, he went to AAA and he destroyed AAA in like a month and a half. I mean, it's pretty impressive. I mean, he's a hitter. But then again, we've said this about a lot of prospects that have come up that are can't miss, and he's just got to establish himself. Just kind of use his talent. Don't let his head get into it because he's a young kid. So
what we saw that last year with Jackson Holiday.
exactly, that's a
Much
good
hype,
example.
coming in, all heralded, and then he has a tough go of it, and then they have to send him back down.
Well,
So
I think it was
the
0 for his
pitching, the
first
quality
28.
of pitching is so different from
Yeah,
AAA and MLB. I mean, it's night and day. So we'll see
yeah.
what happens in the next week, and maybe we'll talk more about the prospect, Mr. Caglione himself.
Yeah, but Jackson Holiday's actually done pretty well this year. He's been pretty solid. So
Yeah.
whatever he identified and learned about being brought up to the big leagues, and then being the modesty being put back down in AAA and say, hey, you're not good enough, not yet. I
Well,
mean,
no, that maybe they were fine tuning or tweaking
yeah,
some things with his, his swing and his stance. So, and again, also he, batting a little lower, in the hitting order. Maybe that helps him with getting more views of pitches and
yeah,
pitchers, getting to learn from coaches and teammates.
yeah, yeah. I agree. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, let's talk about Jacques another day because I'm sure we'll be bringing him up hopefully. So
Yeah, yeah, man. I do know that ever since his Bowman release this year came out, his cards have been on fire.
yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, he is the hype. I mean, he's got that.
Yeah.
So, and
Well, yeah.
the collecting world, we know what that does. I mean, it's a beautiful thing because a lot of people get on that train.
Well, yeah,
So,
it's the highs and the lows, and you can talk to
yeah,
Jason Dominguez and Junior Caminero about the hype up and the tough time coming down. So,
yeah,
and they're both good players. So, we'll see, man. We got to do a birthday, man, because
yeah.
today is somebody's birthday in the world of sports, right?
So this player was, he's just he's a solid all around athlete. I think is the best way you can describe him. Played football in Nebraska, coached the men's Nebraska college baseball team, and he played in that major leagues for 14 years. Darin Erstad. I
Dude.
like this one. It's a 2001 Upper Deck Ovation. I think these cards are pretty cool. They kind of have a textured look to them and feel,
And,
but
and it's embossed, right, where the seam is.
that's right. Yeah, it's
I
really neat.
remember those, man. Those are great cards, man.
Yep. And an interesting stat about Darin Erstad is he played for all three Angels teams in his career. I mean, he came up with the Angels, and then he
Well, it came
played for
from the
Los Angeles,
California Angels, right?
California, Anaheim, and Los Angeles, which I thought is a unique stat. I mean, I would be hard pressed to find anybody who's done that. So pretty
To have
unique.
made all through all three teams, yeah, that
Yeah.
is an interesting stat, man. And I remember when they moved to the Anaheim Angels or whatever they were like. I was like, "What are y'all doing in the late '90s?" Like,
Yeah.
you guys are the California Angels, like you. But like
Right.
you said the little marketing scheme, a little Disney influence, and next thing you know, they're changing their names and releasing new jerseys in every 2 years, new
It's
uniform.
a good thing all their jersey has to say is Angels. So I mean
They were
that's
rocking the pinstripes and the
yeah.
winged A, and yeah.
I mean, but Darin was a solid player. I mean, I think he had 124 career home runs, batted like 286 or 282 for his career. I mean, that's a good hitter.
Hmm.
Um, and then he won a couple of Gold Gloves, and I think his best year was like 2002, 2001, 2002. I remember him
I think O
hitting,
two.
yeah, like 25 jacks and 100 ribbies. I mean, he was a good player. Batted well over 300 that year. So
You know what else he did in 2002?
what was that?
He won a World Series title.
That's yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah,
Defeated the great Barry Bonds and the Giants of San Francisco, right?
that's right. Yeah, God, that's a long. Barry Bonds on the Giants. Wow. So
Those were great years, man. I mean, the guy was cranking out MVPs and home run titles and
yeah,
new records.
it wasn't really that long ago in for like baseball lore, but man, it feels like in our lives, it felt like it was a long time ago. There's a lot's
It's been
happened.
almost a quarter of a century, kids. For
Yeah,
track, it's a long time, but definitely want to wish Darin Erstad, who's I think he's turning 51 today.
yeah,
Happy birthday! And Darin, if you ever want to talk cards with us, talk baseball, you're welcome. Join us, man. Reach out. We are here for you.
yeah. Great. That's cool. All right. Good job.
Let me do a little show and tell real quick, man.
Okay, sure,
Uh,
Kelly.
in as you know, I collect Hideo Nomo rookie cards. That's kind of my jam. That's my PC, and so I scooped up this really cool limited card of his, and it's called Potential Unlimited, and it's from Score here, and Score selected. There were only 903 made.
Okay. Boy, that's a that's quite the torque on this body in the on the front of that card.
Well,
Look at that.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
why his nickname's the Tornado.
yeah, exactly.
So he was definitely winding up, and as a rookie of the year, and all sorts of accolades, and yeah, the chance of Nomo, and definitely a big influence on me. Now I went to a card show this past weekend, and it was primarily it's called the DFW Card Show,
Okay.
and it was primarily Pokemon, being straight up with everyone. They said Pokemon gaming, TCG. So there was lots of different tables and vendors, but I did find a sports table with a sports card vendor that
You
had
found
a
a table.
baseball card,
Nice.
and I couldn't say no because it was in the value bin.
Yeah.
And this guy's been in the news, and we'll see if one day he makes it to the Hall of Fame. But none other than Pete Rose.
Nice. Nice. That's an Opeachy? Is
Yeah,
that?
it's no
Oh
Pete,
yeah.
man. And so I had to snag this thing up because, like I said, it was, you know, basically $1 in the dollar bin. And so, but it is a clean card. It is sharp. So, and I like the 86 design. It's prone to
Yeah.
chipping, but this one's really clean. And I like the card a lot,
It
man.
brings back a lot of memories, those 86, like opening up packs and trying to get a Chris Brown rookie. Come on, let's
Yeah.
go. Trying to get certain players. And
I,
so,
I'm really curious about obviously OPG, their print runs were different than Tops
yeah.
for the years, and the number of cards in their sets were different numbers. I wonder how much is there much value difference or price difference in
Well,
the two by similar years?
I think yes. I think I've looked at some graded cards that are O-Pee-Chee,
Hmm.
comparable to just a standard Tops issue, and the O-Pee-Chee cards fetch a little bit more money. So
For a little bit more of a premium.
yeah, and I just think it's a population thing as well. More of a rarity of getting a 10 O-Pee-Chee Tops, compared to maybe there's four times as many regular Tops. I don't know what the numbers are, but that could be an interesting topic.
I've heard
So
that the quality of the print and the cutting of the cards wasn't at the same level as it was, in the States, the
yeah.
ones that were made up in Canada. So, getting those higher grade OPG cards, you're right, they would definitely carry a higher price tag or more premium of value.
Yeah, I have an O-Pee-Chee that's I think it's an 84 or 85 Tops, and it's half. It's like a half cut, miscut.
Hmm.
So it's like there's like four different players on the card because
You wonder what the printer was doing that day, right? 'Cause what if they all
the back has two other. It's like Gorman Thomas slash somebody else, and the front has a different picture. I'm like, wait a second, because I remember taking back in the day taking those cards out and looking to see what it's supposed to be. So kind of
there's
unique.
there's a niche group that that's all their thing is collecting miscut cards.
Yeah, yeah. I've sold a couple on eBay, and I couldn't believe people jumped on them. I go, really? Okay, that's
Hey,
cool.
yeah, you miscut, really?
You know, I'll have to
It's
dig.
not considered artwork. It's
Yeah,
cut in whatever
I'll have to dig
direction.
that up because it's kind of neat. I think I know where it is, so I'll dig it up and maybe do a little show and tell with that one day. Yeah,
That'll work.
yeah.
Hey, last thing, the grading report just came out from Gym Rate. I'm a contributor to the Beckett side of the equation.
Okay,
Got a card that's authenticated, and dude, it's one of my childhood heroes. None other than the Snake.
nice. Look at that one.
Yeah, it's an authenticated Kenny Stabler card.
That's
And
pretty neat.
yeah,
Is
both.
it the label still the same on the Beckett's?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's not graded; it's just
Yeah.
authenticated.
Okay.
So yeah, but to me, it's just I want to make sure that it was a legit autograph. So yeah, happy to get the snake graphed up and get the card slabbed, and it'll be in my PC forever, man.
Yeah, that guy's a character, so that's a good one.
Dude, his book, The Snake, about his autobiography, it's great, and it's all about his days at Alabama and getting over there out to Oakland and playing for the
Yeah.
Raiders and the Oilers, and then the Saints. So
Yep.
the traveled storied career, but definitely a Kenny Stabler fan too from the '70s.
Yeah, pretty neat. Oh, I like him too. So,
Man, let's get into episode 22, right? That's this one? Last
episode
one,
22.
adults were 21. Moving forward, now we're 22.
Yeah, that's great. So number 22. When you think of number 22 or the number 22, what do you think of, Kelly?
Well, I'm going to go football this time because last time when we did 20, I was thinking baseball, and you're like, Robinson,
Yeah.
Jackie Robinson, Frank Robinson, Brooke Robinson. Yeah. Well, look, I'm even wearing the star for my guy.
Yeah.
Dude,
And
it's going to be none other
I
than
got something back there in the background, and that's going to lead straight into this
Emmett
man right here, Emmett Smith,
Smith.
number 22. So, I mean, I remember back in the day when Emmett Smith was coming out of Florida. I mean, when I saw him in Florida, he was amazing. And I remember him like as a freshman and then coming out and watching him just run as a sophomore. And I was like, this guy is, he's better than Walter Payton. I mean, he's like we didn't really know who Barry Sanders was yet because it was, the same time frame. But Emmett Smith, I mean, I think this is a classic card of the 1990 Pro Set. A lot of people probably have this card, but I think it's pretty neat.
No, it's a
So,
great card, man. It's a rookie card.
yeah, the first round, and these were easy to pick up. I think I went to Target and got these like by boxes and boxes full, but pretty neat card. Value's not really that high, but it's still a rookie of Emmett Smith, so
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, yeah. I guess what we're going to show off some of the our favorite Emmett Smith cards.
Yes, yeah,
That's the
absolutely.
way. Hey, viewers, that's what we're doing. We're going to share some cards.
Yeah, I thought everyone knew
Our
that.
favorites. Dude, well, I'll just lead off with my Emmett Smith autograph that I got from Beckett. So Beckett, you're getting a lot of love today.
Oh,
And
pretty cool.
yeah, it's one of these scoreboard autograph cards of his, and so I think it's pretty funny though, because like he's supposed to sign down here,
Yeah, well, I was
and
going to say.
Emmett missed the mark. He signed across.
Well, what exactly is that on the bottom of the card?
It says I think that's where he's supposed to sign it.
Is it just a flat?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
okay,
It's not textured or anything.
okay.
That's where he was.
Maybe Emmett's eyes looked at it and goes, "Oh, I shouldn't touch this," and then he signed right above.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, no, look at me, eyes up here.
Yeah, that's right,
That's what he did,
exactly.
man. So yeah, just you know, to me, the greatest number 22 of the Cowboys history, and they've had a few, but this is the one that I'm rolling with is Emmett in his autograph card.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. My next card is I'm going to go with a little bit later card. So this is an upper deck, and it was a 2001, and this was kind of my reintroduction back into cards. Around the early 2000s, I took a little bit of time off, obviously for college, and then you get out of college, you start working, you start pulling your cards out. And I'm like, I'm going to go to a show, and I'm going to buy a couple packs. And Kelly, you may have been with me when I bought this pack. You never know. So, but I thought it was pretty neat. I like the design, and when I think of Emmett, I always think of him going around the end, getting real low, tucking the ball away, and running off like a 5 yard gain. So I like that card.
Well,
Pretty
speaking of
neat.
that, and you brought up Barry Sanders and how he had a little bit more flash in the pan, but Emmett, he behind that O line, he was able to just gain yards, and so speaking of that, I think of him in his game against the Giants when he shot
Yes.
his shoulder, but this
Yeah.
rookie card is what reminds me of that performance. It's
Yeah.
more supplemental 1990 card. And I got this, it must have been maybe 1995, 1996.
Okay.
And it's sat in this holder since. I haven't taken it out. I haven't touched
Yeah.
it. I mean, but it reminds me, man, of his career and who he was or is, and his accomplishments on the field.
Yeah. Oh, I like it. I have a lot of cards that are still in the holders from way back in the day.
Well,
1986, I put it in a holder, and then I'm like, oh, look at this. It's
yeah,
still
look
in
what
the
I
holder.
found. I know it's not pressed. It's slid in, so it hasn't moved hardly. So
Which,
it's in pretty decent
yeah,
shape.
I'm just glad I still have those cards. So that's the
Definitely.
that's a good thing.
Didn't
All
get
right,
lost, right?
my next Emmitt Smith. Speaking of accolades and rushing yards, Emmitt Smith. This is a really cool card. This is called the numbers game, and it's a score. And the cool thing about it is I didn't even know that this is a 2001, and I didn't even know that this card was numbered. Look at that, 786 out of 1203, which is an kind of a strange number, but the 1203 signifies how many yards rushing you had that year,
Oh,
which is
all
kind
right.
of neat. Yeah.
I
So
wonder if they did that for every running back that got featured in that set, like their yardage from that previous season.
yeah, I'm not sure, but I mean, I'm glad I got this one as opposed to somebody, Sean Alexander, which nothing against Sean Alexander or something like that, but
Just say, man,
you know what I'm saying.
in his prime, not too bad either, not shabby.
But I saw that. I go, oh, this is another cool card. Flipped it over. And I was like, this is numbered. All right, nice. So hopefully this doesn't start my run of trying to get 1,202 more of these. I have no idea, but you
I
never know.
I do think though you need to look up a trading card database, perhaps that insert set, and find out how many players, and that might be like just kind of a cool project. Maybe it's 10 cards, 10 players.
Yeah,
You just collect one of each. And be like, hey, this was the numbers game insert, and look at all these great running backs from that previous year.
yeah. Because I mean, back in those days, we were really tuned into football, and all the players that would be featured, I would know some crazy stat or some information about them that I probably shouldn't know. Like Jerome Bettis is probably on that. I mean, there's probably a lot. So
Oh yeah, definitely. Mid '90s, early '90s, late '90s. It was definitely a more of a run first offense
yeah.
versus what you see now, which is almost seems like pass first. It's kind of predictive at times,
Well,
just
if I'm
based
sure
on
there's
formation.
there's probably a Barry Sanders of that too. So that
Has
could
to
be pretty
be.
neat. Yeah,
Has to
absolutely.
be. Well,
So
to close out my Emmett Smith run here, we're just showing three cards each, y'all.
yeah.
Just to close mine out, when I think of the king of rushing, the king of the total yardage, the title, I think of gold, and none other than this gold card here, this gold mirror, and it's
Okay,
a
cool.
upper deck. Yeah, it's a Z Force gold mirror, and I got this. I must have picked this card up back in like it must have been like '01, 2000.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, but it's Zenith Z team.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, it's a mirror gold card, and I don't think they're too common.
I don't think I've ever seen that before, but then again, there's a lot I haven't seen, but it's pretty neat.
It's kind of funny though. Then they got like the Z, and then they got like the text in the middle talking about his accomplishment and stuff.
Yeah.
They busted out. It looks like they were a retro Thanksgiving Day uniform one year for
Yeah.
for
Right.
that photo. So yeah, it's gold, it's mirrored, and it's Emmitt Smith, and he's the king of yardage, all
And
time
it's
yardage.
slabs. It's really cool. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, at least 25 years, I reckon.
So I mean, when you think of like going more on Emmett, so what is your opinion? Do you think anybody in the next 20 or 30 years is going to catch Emmett's record, his rushing record?
There's 18,000
Like
yards. No,
255 or something like, yeah, something like
yeah,
that.
it's like 18,355.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. The closest one right now is Derrick Henry, and
Yeah.
I think he's still a good 8,000 yards shy, and he's
Yeah,
30. So is he going to crank out, 7 more seasons of 1,000-yard rushing
well,
seasons?
yeah, I read something where he's going to have to average, even if he plays 5 more years, he's going to have to average something like 1,750 yards or something crazy,
Yeah.
which is
For those
that's.
math majors out there, y'all figure that out. The
But I mean, Kelly,
8,000 yards
think
over
about his running
6
style.
seasons, 8
I
seasons.
mean,
Yeah.
his running style, his body can't withstand 5 more years of his running style like that.
King Henry, and he's definitely royal. He does. You would think that the punishment he takes and his style of running would prevent him from perhaps running, toting the rock, at that later age in life. But
Yeah,
I don't. He defies things, and he's a physical specimen, and I'm sure he trains for the game, and
yeah,
so
he's a beast.
yeah, he might surprise us. But I would say I don't. It doesn't seem likely, and now that teams are much more off pass oriented, with the throwing game. I Emmitt Smith's record, it would be really tough to defeat him, man, and to knock.
Well, I think the view of the running back has changed. I mean, those horses from back 20 years ago. You get a great running back in the draft, you develop somebody, and he's the staple of your team for 10 years. And you feed him the rock all the time. A guy like Derrick Henry is kind of an anomaly, and he's the first 2 years of his career he sat behind DeMarco Murray, another Cowboy. So when he was a rookie, so if Derrick Henry would have been a starter for those first 2 years, because he's been pretty much injury free except for an ankle
Yeah.
um, problem, but I only think that kept him out of like maybe 6 or 7 games. I could be mistaken, but it wasn't a season-ending injury. So if he could have had maybe 3,000 or 2,500 yards at the front end of his career, maybe we'd be talking about a different situation.
Oh, his first
Maybe,
couple of seasons, yeah,
yeah,
because
first couple
he,
seasons.
he's been definitely on the radar. Just now turning 30 or 31. So
Well, I think he's slated to pass like Jim Brown this year. I mean, there's some big names on the rushing list that Derrick Henry can pass, and I read some analyst was saying, it wouldn't surprise me if Derrick Henry finishes above Adrian Peterson, in total, like in final yardage for his career, around 14,000 something. So that's kind of like what they were like predicting, and you never know. That's still impressive.
I was gonna say, getting back to the card side of things, it's interesting though that Emmitt Smith cards and Barry Sanders cards, you compare the two, and the popularity of Barry Sanders, it's definitely reflected in prices versus Emmitt Smith.
Yep.
And you sit there and say, "Hey, Emmitt Smith, 3 Super Bowls, NFL MVP. He's
Right.
Super Bowl MVP. Barry Sanders doesn't have those things. He has highlights and he has his following, and I'm not going to deny it, he's a great running back.
Yeah.
But when you think of those two, and I think they do, they represent that early '90s era really well. Uh,
Yep.
as far as like the great backs at the time. But Barry Sanders cards get the nod for value. Emmitt Smith, though, much like his career, I think he just works and grinds it out.
Yeah. I think it's because people think, what if with Barry Sanders? I mean, he was so amazing. What if he would have kept going? And I think that sparks the fuel, the interest, and then people see they see the highlights and they're like, Emmitt Smith had highlights, but he was also in a system that was dominant. I mean, he stepped in, had a great offensive line, perfect offense for him, got the ball, and just took off. And he did it for so long, it probably got boring to people. So as a collector, you're like, wow, I want to go. If I had to pick one, I'm going to do Barry Sanders. If you put the names back to back. Now, obviously in Dallas, you think differently, and in the South, but yeah, I bet there's a lot of Barry Sanders fans in Texas as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and I'm sure our comments will be flooded with this is why Barry Sanders is better than Emmitt Smith. And
I'd like to
you know
hear
what?
him. Yeah, I'd
Did
like
it.
to hear.
We did an episode 20 with Barry, and then
Yep.
we're doing episode 22 with Emmitt, and
Yeah.
their impact in the hobby and in our collections, man.
Is episode 23 Thurman Thomas? I have no
Uh,
idea.
Episode 23 is gonna be a surprise.
Yeah, that's right.
Represent a great with the number 23.
Yeah, that's right.
No, that's a nail biter, sir.
Yeah.
Well, we're already kind of running up against it, man. I was going to mention real quick that in the news, apparently PSA is opening up an office down there near in Boca Raton near SGC. Like, and the question is like, hey, is this the beginning of the end for SGC?
Yeah, it's pretty unique strategy. I mean, is it? Um, yeah, it's. I guess what you're saying. It's almost like, oh, we're going to build. We're going to build. Oh, don't worry about us. This is a different. We're not competing with
Separate
you.
separate companies,
And then
umbrella,
all of a sudden, it's
parent
like
company.
they're just going to engulf them. It's
That or perhaps SGC. I mean, they're known for their vintage guys, so
yeah,
maybe they're getting some their card graders at PSA, getting them to learn the SGC system and what to look for.
correct.
Share
Yeah,
some knowledge between the two, because again, same parent company but separate entities.
yeah,
And
yeah. I would
then
agree.
I don't know if you read in a what was it, Sports Collectors Daily, that PSA is opening up a branch in Plano, Texas. Here
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
metro.
you mentioned that. You mentioned that. That's interesting. Um,
Apparently, they're going to specialize, I guess, in ticket, encapsulation. But I can see that spreading out to like cards, and maybe they're just looking for different distribution points.
I wonder if they'll do non-sports tickets, like any type of tickets.
Yeah,
Like I've got a bunch of like concert tickets from way back in the day. That would be pretty cool
yeah.
to get some of those, like White Snake encapsulated. I mean, pretty awesome.
1986 Motley Crue concert ticket capsule.
Correct.
That would be hilarious. So yeah, I mean SGC, BGS, PSA, Big Three. You saw their numbers and gem rate. They're still battling. PSA, they're still they still crank out the most. Uh, CGC, they're dominating like the TCG Pokemon side of things. SGC, a little bit slower turnaround times apparently in the month of May. Then Beckett's still just kind of flatlining. They've got their
Yeah.
low customer base, but they're definitely haven't turned things around and started trending upwards. So, but the fact that PSA is like SGC's backyard here at Beckett, Dallas backyard, see what's gonna
Yeah.
happen, man.
It's interesting, but you got to give it to PSA. I mean, they're definitely being aggressive. They're still driving the collectible values of the hobby. I mean, it's positive for the hobby. I mean, I think it's competition, but competition is great. That's what makes things move forward. So
Well, yeah. Now, in a sense, you got the big four, so we'll see what happens in the month of July. Just if SGC continues to lose numbers and slow turnaround times, how does that affect hobby perception? If PSA continues to like grade more non-sport cards than sport cards, how does that affect the hobby? It'll be an interesting month of June.
yeah. Do these big moves by the big three or the big four, like guys like Tag that are trying to put a
They're
foothold?
like Pokemon only, apparently.
Are they okay?
They're
Because
not going to grade like the oversized cards from the 50s in sports, and
okay,
they know their lane, and I guess that's what they're going to stick with.
so, yeah. So it's a limited growth. So okay, gotcha.
That's my perception. But
Yeah.
hey, viewers, you got ideas? Throw them in the comments down below. Let us know what's up. And now I got to stump Patrick because
All right. Let's
there. So
let's do
speaking
it.
of Emmett Smith, episode 22, who holds who holds the NFL single season rushing touchdown record with 28? So whoever holds this record with 28 rushing touchdowns is the title holder.
The LaDainian Tomlinson.
We're gonna go right to D. LaDainian Tomlinson. Okay,
Yep.
smart guy, you do that one. I was
Yep.
gonna try to stump you with Emmett Smith, Barry Sanders, and Marshall Falk.
And now the one it would be Marshall Falk would have been a tricky one because you could have thought about the greatest show on turf and go, man, they
Yeah,
scored a lot of touchdowns.
dude, they get down
So
there and yeah, red zone and handing it off. But
yeah,
you
yeah.
beat me to it. I didn't even get to the fourth option. You're like LaDainian Tomlinson. All
I
right.
think it was it 2000? What year was it when
I,
he
I
broke?
I forget the year, man. To be honest.
Okay. It was that early 2000s when they made the playoffs. They met back to back, and I think Philip Rivers was their QB as a young Philip Rivers. I mean, they had Antonio Gates. They had decent players.
It would have been the early aughts then.
Yeah. So
Well, hey, on that note, like I said, we got a special guest for next week. Viewers, thank you for your time. Really appreciate the viewership and the commitment to following us and growing this show. And share them with your friends. Like, subscribe, tell them that we're on Facebook at CardBlitz.
yeah,
We are on Instagram, CardBlitz Show. You can find us on Twitter at Blitz Weekly. Find us on this YouTube channel, apparently Blitz Weekly. Show's called CardBlitz. Look forward to next week with our big guest.
Yeah,
Anything
sounds
on
good,
your end?
Kelly. Yeah, Kelly, sounds great. I mean, I welcome people to. I want to see some comments, guys. Let's see some. Let's get some discussion going about Barry Sanders and Emmett Smith. I think that's great.
All right. Well, on that note, we'll catch y'all next time. Take care.
Yeah. See you later.